Hey, what's up everybody? It's your mortgage expert, Brian McCauley here. So are you wondering when the feds are going to cut the interest rates in 2024 and you keep hearing things are delayed, and is it actually going to happen? Stick around. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. We all know the DFW housing market is continuing to heat back up, even with interest rates continuing to hang around in the sevens. Now, there's been talk all year about Fed rate cuts. It went from 6 potential rate cuts down to 4 potential rate cuts down to 3 potential rate cuts. And now people are wondering, are they going to cut at all? What in the world is going on? So I want to talk a little bit about today about the state of interest rates, mortgage rates specifically, what's going on with the Fed, what's going on with inflation, why these cuts are not happening, why they're getting delayed, and probably what to expect in 24 and 25. So if you guys remember, obviously inflation was at an all-time high. It started to come down at the end of 23, beginning of 24, and it looked like things were stabilizing, things were getting under control, and then basically the Fed announced, hey, we don't think 6 rate cuts will be good this year. We're thinking more probably 3. We're talking more the backside of the year, and as we trend further and further to the backside of the year, it seems to be that, hey, economy seems to be good. Jobs still seem to be growing. People seem to keep spending. And so what that does, it pushes inflation up. They're trying to get it down. They got it down for a while. They haven't necessarily got it down all the way. And what's happened over the past few months is it's starting to tick back up. And so they've just pushed pause on the rate cuts. Why have they pushed pause? Well, everybody understands that, cutting interest rates makes things cheaper. It makes money cheaper. What it does, it incentivizes Americans and consumers to spend. What they want right now is for people not to spend. Seems like people are overspending, still spending, and what that's doing is causing inflation to rise again. So they're trying to get it down. So what they've said is, hey, we're not going to not cut rates. We're just going to press pause on when we cut rates, and we're probably going to press pause on how many times that we cut rates. And so what I ultimately think what's going to happen is just delayed, right? It went from potentially in May to potentially in June, now maybe potentially on the backside of the year. But as things continue to quote unquote get better, jobs get added, people get more spending, there's no reason to cut rates. Why? Because cutting rates wants to incentivize people to spend, and obviously they're spending too much right now, so it would make inflation come down and get control of inflation even worse. So they're probably going to hang off until the election, or maybe sometime shortly after, because what they can't have is inflation just ramp up and flare up out of control again. It would defeat the purpose of all the progress that they've made. So they're just kind of saying, hey, let's hold off for a minute. It wouldn't be a good idea to cut rates, even though I would love for interest rates to get cut for consumers, because obviously I want them to have cheaper money. It would just boom prices out of control. I mean, can you imagine right now if interest rates were cut over the next 3 or 4 months and they dropped 1% or 1% plus? I mean, the housing market is already taken off again. People, I think, have come to the terms and understand, hey, right now, interest rates in the high 6s, low to mid 7s is kind of the norm, and they've settled with that. But also Dallas specifically, it's just a great city. It just still continues to thrive no matter what rates are, and that's a great thing for the city. It's not necessarily great for affordability, because obviously with demand it's still continuing to increase, people are still buying houses at almost peak prices, and they're willing to pay 7+% on the interest rate. And that is just a economics 101, supply and demand. There is way too much demand. There is not enough supply. And so you have force feeding with people still trying to get houses and just say, look, we don't love the interest rates in the 7s, but however, we're probably going to make payments on this mortgage for 12 months, maybe 18 months at the most. So I will just go ahead and pay the higher rate right now. It's a little bit of a premium, but I want a house. I gotta have a house. I know house prices are only going to go up. I don't want to miss out. I know 18 months from now, my house is probably going to be worth 10 to 20% more. I want to get those gains. I want to get that appreciation, regardless of what the rates are, because again, it's not a matter of if rates are going to come down. It's a matter of when. The when just keeps getting delayed because of all the spending and the stimulus bills and all these things with jobs. But ultimately, it's not going to last. It may push itself out 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 months, but my belief is at least around election time, or even trending into 25, rates will come down. Now, how much will they come down and how long will they come down? I still think they're going to come down 1.5% plus. I think we're going to settle somewhere probably in the high 5s, maybe low 6s, which is still a really, really good competitive rate. It just may not happen by beginning of 25, but I personally believe it's definitely going to happen by the end of 25. If you're waiting on rates to drop to buy a house don't. Ultimately, they're going to come down. They'll probably be at a nice stable number by the end of 2025, but don't let that get in the way of your home buying journey. Prices are still going to go up. There's a ton of people in Dallas. You can always refinance the rate. What you overpay in the rate and the payments is not going to be clearly close to what you're going to overpay in the house if you wait till rates are at the bottom. We all know that and seen it during COVID. People are paying full price right now. If they're paying full price right now, what do you think they're going to pay when interest rates are 1.5% lower? As far as the Fed is concerned, they're in a tough situation. They seem to be changing their mind every month. Hey, we think things are stable. We think CPI is going to get better. All of a sudden it levels, it starts to trickle down, and then there's some random stimulus bill passed. There's some aid bill passed. There's a bunch of jobs added. Now, what I think about the Fed jobs thing, this is my personal opinion, they're showing that there are a lot of jobs being added. I think what's being added is a lot of part-time jobs. So what happens is you have a full-time job and part-time jobs. Well, if it shows 300,000+ jobs are added, I think probably 25 to 30% of that are part-time jobs, but it goes into the full jobs number. So it looks like the economy is doing well and booming and the jobs are good, but I don't believe that in its entirety, because what I believe is people are getting part-time jobs because inflation is so expensive and people can't afford it with one income. They're getting secondary income to supplement an income to live during the times when inflations are high. And so what happens is you have part-time jobs mixed in with full-time jobs. It equals a headline that says a lot of jobs are being added, but I think those are a lot of side jobs, side hustles, second jobs. So I don't believe the jobs numbers are as strong as they say, but obviously really good job numbers contribute to a strong economy. A strong economy says, hey, people are spending, people are making money, we didn't need to cut interest rates, things are good right now. But I think that's a little bit more, I think there's a little bit more of a twist there and skewed data than I actually think strong full-time jobs are. As far as what I would pay attention to, if I was a consumer, a real estate investor, a realtor out there, as far as interest rates are really traded on the bond market. The bond market and mortgage-backed securities are pretty much tied to the 10-year treasury. So when you're looking at the TV, at stock markets, treasuries, all these things, look at the 10-year. Now, they're not, again, 100% direct, but they're tied together, so one does affect the other. So if you're trying to look at the trends and where things are headed, every single month you want to look at the 10-year treasury. So we want that number as low as it can go and in the red. It's the opposite of the stock market. So if you have stocks and you're watching the Dow Jones, everybody wants the Dow Jones in the green. They want it going up. Going up is good. It means they're making money. On the 10-year treasury, we don't want it going up in the green. We want it going down in the red because obviously interest rates follow it. So as the 10-year goes up, the rates are going up with it. As the 10-year goes down, they should follow. Same thing every month. You want to watch the CPI, you want to watch the inflation numbers, and you want the job numbers. We want inflation down. We want job numbers not to be so great. Inflation goes this way or this way. Interest rates follow. So as inflation goes up, rates will follow. As interest rates go down, inflation will follow. And so when you're looking at the Fed, you're looking at these statements, you're looking at the projections of, hey, inflation's out of control, okay, it's leveled and gotten stable, okay, it's going back down, okay, it's back up. These economic indicators every single month are what the Fed is paying attention to figure out the direction of where the economy is headed and where inflation is headed. And so they make their projections and their statements on rate cuts, whether it's how many rate cuts, whether it's when the rate cuts are happening or how long they're going to continue to cut rates based on this information. So if you're paying attention to it out there, two things. Number one, watch that CPI data, watch the inflation data, watch the job numbers data, and that will dictate what the Fed does. Number two, don't let these interest rates get in the way of you buying a house, because obviously they're going to be what they're going to be. You can always refinance the rate, but the cost of waiting is only going to get more expensive because, again, if people are already buying houses at pretty much full price with a rate somewhere between, again, let's just call it 6.99 and 7.5 today, what do you think that's going to do to the prices whenever rates actually drop, whether that be the back half of 24 or all throughout 25. So the smartest thing to do, obviously, is to get with your realtor, find a house that you like, in a neighborhood that you like, at a price that you like, make a competitive offer, secure that property. Real estate, like the stock market, historically over time, it goes up. It's an appreciating asset. You're going to make money on the money. I promise you, the value of your house on the upswing over the next few years is going to make you so much more money than it's going to cost you on just a little extra in the rate and the payment each and every year. So make sure and make 2024 your year to buy a house. Just do it smart.